In one of the universes, Peggy marries Bucky while you're still on ice.
It's micromagnetic dust. It won't kill you, but you'll never walk again.
Well.
In one of the universes, Peggy marries Bucky while you're still on.
Damn, he's so good at those things. He's so good at those.
Who's so good at those? Hey!
Oh, that guy!
Oh, look at this guy.
What's up? How are you guys?
Good. Welcome, Mr. Andrew Hiller, to the show.
Finally, huh?
Bill and I decided to do something special for you. So if everybody could take a moment. Bill, you ready? In homage to our guest. All right.
Here we go. I mean, I've never seen you do a show with your shirt on. I know you're not going to do this with Sev on. I know you're not going to do it with anyone else. So we're like, fuck it. We got it.
We're doing a full shirtless episode, even though somehow you may have unplugged or turned off your microphone or headphones.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I can't hear you. So yeah, we're comfortable in our own skin.
Hell yeah.
We're comfortable in our own skin. Every video you do, you seem to be shirtless. So we figured, hey, if we can do it at Wadapalooza,
that's right,
for an entire broadcast, I think we can go shirtless for an entire podcast.
Look at him. He's still panicking. Dude, get your shit together down there. What are you doing?
Apparently, TRT does not work for podcast equipment improvement.
How about that?
Hey, I think you're, yeah.
I'm a semi-professional media man now. I know how to do everything. Everything's freaking awesome. That was so funny.
Yeah. So welcome to the show, everyone.
Welcome. I have to close the door. It's cold in Chicago.
Is it? It's not. Well, I'm in Texas, so it's never really cold here unless it's a winter apocalypse.
Right. Totally. You'll get a blizzard tomorrow.
Where it's steady 72 degrees year round.
Always year round.
Yeah. The dog likes to look outside when I hang out in the garage, so I keep it open for the dog. But she might have to suffer. Closed garage door time.
Yeah. Just as long as you keep it above the nipple line, no one's going to be able to tell how cold it actually is in there. Well, welcome to the show, everyone. This is a Mount Rush Moments episode as we have a special guest, Mr. Andrew Hiller. And we thought of the topic, I think it was a couple podcasts ago, and we're like, hey, let's do a Mount Rush Moment episode about the top 4. See, we're already getting tips. Thanks, Watson.
Yeah.
Tips in the chat.
Kind of feel like a stripper right now.
Hey. Now we feel like strippers.
Savon, yeah. I only see this on the Savon podcast.
Yeah, he won't do it. He's too worried about being fat. It won't happen.
He likes when you call him out for being scared.
Yeah.
He's too scared to take his shirt off. I've tried to get him to. It was all of 30 seconds with you guys, and he hasn't done it in hours.
Right.
Yeah. So wildly comfortable for the
You guys also said we're going to go for like 3 hours, right? We're going to go way past his typical
way
time. So
I'm past all my appointments for the day. But we had this idea. We want to do top 4. We say this a lot, right? Anytime we see online competition is that we'll see movements that just don't need to be programmed for the sake of everyone, for the judges, for the athletes, for the online judging, for everyone. If we just didn't do a few of these things, our lives would be a lot simpler. Although if we didn't do a few of these things, I don't know if you'd have enough stuff to talk about.
I would not be around.
There's plenty of live stuff that he could talk about that would be just fine. He just
it would be
over to the live episodes.
I actually just made a video for today.
This was really hard, though.
I pulled up something from the quarterfinals this year. So the stuff from the quarterfinals and the Open, that's kind of what we're talking about, really. And it's the stuff that makes everyone super feisty.
Yeah.
Myself included. I get pretty pissed.
Well, no, I wouldn't believe that. What are you talking about?
What is this? Is it make CrossFit great again? Is this
make CrossFit great again? Yeah, but I don't know the exact bookmark in there, but it had to do with And I guess it's actually one of my topics on here. So it's my number 2 worst
Ooh,
online qualifier movement. So we can kind of splice it into that if you want. You said to make one, right? I've got a top 4 of my own. How do you want to go about doing this?
So how this is going to go is we're going to do a little round robin of 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 of our top 4. No particular order unless you have it in order. But I'll give mine. We elaborate. You give yours. We elaborate. Sometimes we share. We don't know. We haven't shared with each other.
I got a feeling our number 1 will be the same.
I think so too.
Probably.
And I have a feeling that my initial one is going to be completely different than you guys's. So
I'm excited.
We'll see.
I'm excited. But I told Hiller that it's like, listen, we have like guidelines, but
not really
go off the rails anytime. And just be prepared that any time I may jump on a soapbox and totally lose my shit for about 5 minutes. But
hey, I'm all about it.
You hang out with Sevon, you know he does the same thing too. So
and then you just let him go. Let him
go. Dude, you're okay. Real fat. You are hysterical on whenever you do the show with him because he starts going, and this is your body movement. You just do this. And it's like you slowly fade out, through the go and get something to drink and come right back, and then okay, we're done talking. Okay, cool. Dude, it's so funny. I can watch your face, and you totally just check like, all right, here he goes again. What the fuck? All right, we're back. All right, we're back. Cool. Talking about my stuff. Okay, cool.
I do everything that I can to like absorb it all so that I have something to give back into the conversation. So I'm like, all right, what's he doing now? Where's he going? When's he done?
That's so funny.
It's funny that I do that though, because I don't realize that I back off.
You're gonna do it next time, and you're gonna go, oh shit, I am moving back. God dang it!
People are realizing my mannerisms.
All your tells. Let's start playing poker. My favorite one is when there's like a caller, and I just watch your face react to what the person is saying. It's the best part.
It's the eyebrows, from what I've heard.
It's all of your face. What the fuck is he talking about? That's what it flashes across your face.
Well, most people, I feel like, don't have very many facial expressions, right? I see a lot of people nodding. There's like a nodding. That's kind of what I pick up on other people doing, but I don't know what it is. Maybe you guys need to get your faces closer, and then we can see what's going on. It'll be shirts off and face in the camera.
Get too close, so you'll see like, Dad's got a lot of brown sugar on his chest.
Did I tell you I did that workout of yours, the rowing and devil's press workout?
Oh yeah, do you fucking smash that?
I believe you said sub 7 would have been good. No, I believe it was like on the day I started the TRT.
Oh, dang.
So maybe that'll be my baseline test, because everyone's like, you need to get one. And I was always just telling people that my baseline is going to be every workout that I'd ever done. And like, I want to see where I can stack up in relation to my fitness history. That being said, with maybe 2/3 of the total ability to go work out. But with that, I did that workout and it was fucking terrible.
I
was it 21, 18, 15, or I don't know. It was 21, 7, 18, 6.
Of cows on the row, and then a third, so 7 down to 1 of devil's thrusters. So
devil's. Oh, I did it wrong then, because I thought it was.
Oh, you did devil presses?
Oh fuck.
I feel so much better because you fucking smashed it, and I was like, God damn! I know I'm like.
So it's a devil's press into a squat clean thruster.
Yeah. So after your devil's press, you just bring it to the shoulders and take it into a thruster.
You want the honest story here? This is usually when I catch up on my cell phone. I was using the bathroom and I saw on, I think it's Facebook, the workout, and I'm like, I gotta go do that right now. And I walked out in the garage and I did it right then. So if it was for, I have to now put the stamp on it saying if it was for anything, I would have made sure I was doing the right fucking movement.
You just did it for, here comes the dad joke. You ready? Shits and giggles.
Shits and giggles.
That's usually my workouts. Like I put my kids down for a nap, and then I run out to my driveway and I try to hit a workout as fast as possible.
And that was probably the same deal, right? That workout. Yeah. Where do you go up with the devil's thruster? I've never seen that.
That's a CrossFit Big D original. I'm just, I'm throwing it out there. Yeah. I was like, how can I make this worse?
Yeah.
Well, I'm already overhead and I didn't do a squat. And that's what I think I took is like, what is the most full range of motion dumbbell movement you could do? And I was like, okay, burpee to 1 pull overhead into a squat, into a press. And you literally hit everything in that aside from maybe like an actual crunch, but the core demand on a devil's press into a dumbbell thruster, I think takes care of that. So I think it's like the most all encompassing movement you could possibly do with a pair of dumbbells.
I'm
It's
gonna do it
zero.
again. I gotta do it again.
I'll put
Like
a
a
little
freaking
Yeah,
idiot.
throw some curls in there. Throw some curls in there real quick.
Some GHD sit-ups. Approximately, in the spirit of what we're about to talk about, is 180 of them will suffice, right?
Oh my God. Yes.
Quarterfinal workout number 3 from 2021.
Dude.
Yeah.
Don't even get me. See, you're
Are you
winding
guys,
up.
are you guys keeping up with the Wadapalooza qualifiers? And have you done
Someone
any of
just
those?
sent it to me. Actually, Brian Friend just sent me the
been
1,000
doing
meter
them.
row buy-in one, and I just about my head exploded because we already went off on the whole buy-in bullshit on the Madrid Championship. I was like, why?
You mean the 60-40 cal row buy-in to the GHD sit-up yoke walk workout?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
worthless 60 cals on a rower.
Dumb.
And we just said, keep it, but put it at the end. Problem
so-
solved. Better workout, better test.
All right. But give them, like, we just started saying this. I mean,
We
we've been
just
saying it
said
for a
it.
little while. We've been saying it for a while. But
You know, they
like
should change
again,
things on command.
you
just like
you got
Oakland.
we're turning the boat, man. We're turning the Titanic around. You know, it takes a little while to get that shifting. So next year we'll start seeing all those at the end. It's all right. It's all right.
Oh, all right. I know we're all on a little pitch count here, but before we hop in, Hill, I had a question for you.
I have
Is
an answer.
that- So you're doing are you doing California hormones specifically?
I am.
Okay, cool. And it's been what, 3 weeks? 3-4
The
weeks?
5th is the date I started, September 5th. So whatever today is minus that,
Okay.
17 days?
Yeah. So coming up on 3 weeks.
Correct.
I was really intrigued by this. I think this is really cool what you're doing. Is part of your scope really to like prove how quickly and effectively these things can?
Did you
Like,
see the video I put up the other day?
Yeah, I saw what you look like.
It's different, isn't it?
Why do you think I did like as many chino 1 minute before we got on? Because
The
I had
cool, it's freezing in here, and I have a little bit of a pump going. It's kind of wicked. It's weird. Yeah.
yeah.
So
No, and
what
that's
was your
what you
question,
said.
though? Is my scope of what?
Is like part of your goal to really like prove how quickly these things work and how it like can help performance that maybe like
Or the
others
percentage
doing
of.
in the space.
Or the percentage of improvement.
I would have to say it's both, because I would have to say that I'm incredibly attuned to where I'm at fitness wise, and I know like how out of shape I am based upon everything that I've done in the past. So everyone's like, you should do a bunch of benchmarks. It's like, well, if I do Fran and it takes me 2.5 minutes, I know what it felt like doing it in 2.5 minutes, doing it in 2:25, doing it in 2:20, and my best ever is 2:12. And let's say I'm incapable of doing it, and a 2:30 feels like a 2:12. You can kind of chalk those things up. And I have this test on the rower that I'll do all the time. It's just 10 by 300 meters with a minute rest in between. If I do it at a 1:38 pace the entire time, come on off and I feel a certain way.
Yeah.
If I do it at a 1:32, come off and I feel a certain way. So I've probably done this thing 300 times. I'll go do it and I'll say, this is how I feel. And in that video, I brought up my running. It's like, this is so much easier than it should be. And
In a
it's
matter of
incredible.
barely 3 weeks.
About 16 days at that point. Yeah.
Okay.
It's wicked. And then the body composition change as well is different.
Yeah.
Dude, there are going to be so many people after you're done with this that get popped taking some. I want to feel good like that. I want to be able to make it feel super easy.
Yeah. Well, I think part of that too is that starting to build, and I don't know if USADA does this, but or even WADA, but building athlete profiles, like numbers profiles, like a
USADA does this. Yeah, it's called the biological passport.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, that's exactly what I was thinking about. It's like, okay, yeah, you've been a natural like 500 to 600 athlete your entire life, and then when you hit 35, now you're 750.
Yeah.
What
About
happened?
yes.
I just
You're
mean
talking about
anyone in general.
testosterone levels.
Yeah, creating that profile.
Correct. And that's what they do. And then they look a little bit deeper at that point. And it's just like it's a money thing. So they decide whether or not to see what type of testosterone you have in you. And it's just a much more expensive test. So if they tested all 80 athletes at the games, it would cost them hundreds of thousands of dollars to do that.
Right.
And the test that they put them through cost them tens of thousands. It's still expensive.
Yeah, it is. And it does come to that. And like we've always said, it's such a new sport. Like 16 years in. We don't have the millions of dollars we can dedicate solely to testing.
Maybe soon. And even then, as if you've seen any of my shit, it kind of doesn't matter. And actually, there's a video I want to make on I made one on Clarence Kennedy and how I think he'd win the CrossFit Games. That's just kind of a clickbaity title. I think he's just a cool individual.
No, you
No
don't.
clickbait. I never do clickbait. I want people to click on it. It's like, who the fuck does he think can be Matt Frazier? Who does he think can do it? And then they click on it. But really, I wanted to show how awesome this guy is. It's Clarence Kennedy. It shows every single bit of his transformation from 12 years old until the point in time in which he's clean and jerking 500 pounds. It's so cool because he has everything documented. He has a 2-part series on performance enhancing drugs, and anybody who wants to know more about it, listen to this dude talk, because he openly talks. He has a bit. It's like, are you natural? He goes, no. And then that's the only thing he's ever said about it. But then he tells you about why he doesn't compete at the Olympic level, because he could be, and he gets into it. It's just cool. So it's like an hour-long listen.
That's one of my last questions before we get to what we're here for, is that, I mean, you're doing this, you're doing it as a spirit. I think it's fascinating, and I give you a lot of props for being open with it and doing this in the public view. But is there any part of you that it was a little hesitant because, you know, like, you doing this is like you've pretty much removed yourself from competing ever again?
I've said in the past I was afraid to do it, and that's true. And part of being afraid is that I'd no longer be able to stick my name onto the worldwide leaderboard.
Well,
does that make sense? Because it actually that goes along with the video today. 4 years, right?
Good
but
point.
On the video today, it's how much the open mattered, and the fact that it doesn't matter anymore, in a sense, made it easier. And everyone's like, "You finished 40th in the open, like that's your best year ever." I go, "Yeah, but in a typical year, it's probably like 200 to 250." Because no one gave a shit. Everyone's like, "Oh, I'm just going to do the workout once." And then I'm in here doing them 4 times because I want to see how high I can get, like every other year. And then the quarterfinals are kind of chalked up to normal.
Okay.
So it ruins everything. So that's what I'm worried about. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I'm kind of out, but I'm also very into this, and I'm nowhere in shape. And it was kind of a best of both worlds for me right now.
Cool.
I think it's cool because we needed somebody. I'm glad that there's someone that did. I mean, you're the guy that's been the most talkative about it, you know, and so you're the guy to do it. You put your money right where your mouth is. You're like, okay, I'm announcing it to everyone, so it's not a secret. Like, hey, CrossFit, hey, everybody, I'm doing it. I'm doing
that, and I'm doing the head judge with the Zelos game. So, like, what else do people fucking want from me?
Oh, are you really?
Oh, you didn't hear that? Yeah.
I thought
I'm working with Zelos.
Dude, and this is, and that, I mean, I don't want to kill all of our time for this show, but like, that was a great show with you talking to Sevon when Josh was on that one. It was him and Josh, and you popped in.
Yeah.
Because I think we could do a really cool show on that, talking about the replay idea and how to come up with an alternate judging version for competitions. I think that would be huge. It is a really, really cool idea, but the logistics right now are just like, they're all over the place. I think it would be tough. And Josh had a lot of really good points on it too. I mean, as an athlete,
awesome
which
points.
I think is really cool. So
that's why I wanted to kind of keep it on the back end, but then I go, this is too good of an opportunity to pass up, like asking Josh what he thinks about it.
Yeah.
So that was awesome. Yeah, I agree.
So,
and there's going to be a lot of stuff put into place to try to make sure that it goes through smooth, to show CrossFit that it's something that maybe they should consider. That's kind of the goal in that.
Well, I think that's big. I mean, any pushback you've gotten from that side is like, put your hat in the ring instead of sit outside and talk shit about it. So I applaud you for doing that.
Just throwing rocks.
Yeah. Enjoy this, Boulder.
Now I got my shield.
All right. Well, let's get into it. So this episode is on the top 4 movements that we think should never be programmed in online competition, or the top 4 worst ever programmed in competition. And the way we get through this is our Mount Rushmore. You've got 4 heads on Mount Rushmore. We pick 4 basically things to talk about on here. We don't know what we have. Hiller, since you were the guest on the show, we will let you lead off. I don't know if you've ever seen a Mount Rush Moments episode, but we do have special music.
I've listened to you guys' stuff forever.
Oh, dude.
Oh, very cool. How come you never popped up on the comments then, jerk?
He's coming.
It's always on. It's on Apple Podcast, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because that's where I get most of it in.
Got it.
It's because he's spending 10 hours a day making a video every day, Bill.
Right. Totally.
I actually do most of my listening either while I'm driving or while I'm in a sauna. And if you saw the thing I put up when I was hitting golf balls the other day, I had an earbud in my ear, and I think I had Sevon like talking in my ear. And then, that's right. I get a lot of my listening done basically every chance I get.
Yeah. I have to catch myself because I do the same thing, like driving my kids to school or picking them up. And then I realize I'm listening to the Savan podcast and I'm like, oh, one. Dad, what does that mean? I'm like, and Ashley's going to get so mad at me. But all right, we're going to have you lead
Hannah
off.
Claudius? Who's Hannah Claudius?
Yeah.
Why is it Hugo?
I feel about that. That'll be a whole nother discussion later. But we have some special music just for this episode. So before we get to it,
I know
some
this one.
rush moments of our top 4 program. And leading off,
So good.
number 1, Mr. Andrew Hiller.
I said this would be one of the 2 of them that probably are potentially nothing like you guys because it's the top 4 worst movements. And this is going to be a broad anything that's poorly described or changed. So the poorly described, the thing that I have referenced here are shuttle runs and how basically everyone gets confused because they didn't know if 25 foot would be a rep or if down and back would be a rep. And of course it was down and back and everyone did it in half. And changed is burpees. And we had burpee 2015, 2017, 2019, and then the 2021, 22 burpee. They're all different. What is it? And it should be rather simple. Like touch your chest to the floor, 2-foot takeoff, 2-foot landing, in my opinion, and other people's opinions, but then everyone else will read something different. And my number 4 is those poorly described or changed. So people don't understand.
Yeah. So one of mine is burpee, any type of burpee standard. And so when you go back and think about it, so in 2011, they had bar facing burpees in the open. It was that 60 bar facing burpee into overhead squats into ring muscle ups, of which I changed shoes between burpees and overhead squats and took them back off the ring muscle ups because there were no rules against it.
It's like a hip and steal, a 2011 hip and steal.
Exactly. And then in 2012, they had the 7 minutes of burpees where they added that target above your head. So they changed that standard for the first time. And then they kept it from 2013 because they had the 13.1. It was to a target. Those burpees were to a target. And then they brought the bar facing burpee back. And then they changed the jump. And then they had the wall touch for the last chance qualifier. And then they had the step over and then the line facing burpee. And so it's just like,
it's like cheese. There's so many different types of cheese.
Yeah, and that is a problem when you have a competition where it should just be a thing. Like, what is the thing? So my first on the list as well, in the standards one that you have, like I'm going to put burpees in that category of just like either pick one or don't do it anymore. And if you guys had a pick one standard, what would it be?
See, I love what you guys say with that, but I think that exact what you're talking about could be laid across every single movement that's out there. And the problem I think that CrossFit has gotten into is they're assuming that everyone knows what they're trying to say instead of explaining. Like if they don't want to have Katrin doing a worm burpee, then they should say, I mean, and I know that we can say, yeah, but you know that your chest and hips and legs are all supposed to touch the same. Don't assume. You have to assume that people are going to take the shortcut rather than assuming that they're going to take, like they're going to do strict plank, push-up, burpee. They're not going to do it. You have to say exactly whatever it is that you want. So if it's, you want them parallel to the bar on the line, splitting their body on the line, head not going over the bar, a 2-foot takeoff, whatever that might be. Like, are you more worried about the 2-foot takeoff or are you worried about them just doing burpees? Like, figure out exactly what it is that you're trying to do and then go and do, yeah, you're right. Hand release
this is my pick, a hand release on the burpee.
Ooh,
as a standard.
Welcome, JR.
Standard. I'm glad to have JR here.
Do you guys remember 17.5? announcement.
Probably. I mean, we did it, whatever it was.
The announcement. Do you remember Dave Castro giving that announcement? Because during that announcement, the workout was, I believe, 9 thrusters, 95, 65, and 33 double unders. And it was 10 rounds,
35.
maybe?
35.
35. Okay.
Yeah.
He said in there, don't put the rope in your pockets. Don't give the rope to a buddy. Just put the rope on the fucking ground in the middle of the announcement. And that's how I feel the way the burpee should be done. But what we're saying right here is that everyone's going to find a way to cheat. But basically what I hear there is if you do anything other than what should be obvious and you were to have seen that video, that workout's no good. You put your rope hanging from the rafters so it was more accessible once you put the barbell down for the thruster. No, the video is no fucking good. And with the burpee, that's what I think too. I think that in 2018, there was the ascending ladder of the dumbbell squat into the heavy squat clean.
I lost a year of my life because of that workout.
Because of the burpees or because of the workout?
The workout. Because we're doing team
lost a year of my life because of the
guy here, so I'm going to full send this from the start, and you guys can get my time because scoring was bullshit.
Right.
Scoring was bullshit. What do you mean?
Well, you get like the way you score that event is like you get it's too skewed. Like you get a whole different event score for a lift in the middle of it's like
correct.
The scoring screwed up the programming. The programming is fine. You want to test a max in there, even though I'm not a big one at max out in the open, especially. But when you limp dick your way through to get a lift, it's just scoring made it bad. Anyway, continue.
With that year, I believe the burpees were said 2-foot takeoff, 2-foot landing, and any one of the top videos you saw, they were not doing that. There was like that stutter step that they kind of sort of allow now by saying you can jump over the bar, but it was definitely not 2-foot takeoff, 2-foot landing, and it was almost the workout's fault because everyone was doing it to get as fast of a score as possible.
Right.
The ensuing year, do you remember they made it mandatory 2-foot takeoff, 2-foot landing, and then it was almost like you face the bar.
You couldn't step in 2018 either. They took
that away. And in my opinion, that probably might be the best way to do it because it takes away all of what Bill was saying, which was everyone's going to try to cheat. And if you took away the step, in a way, it makes it better.
I think if you could
and then
take
they
away
reverse engineered it and made it freaking idiotic.
Totally. I mean, they went the wrong way. They tried to make it easier and they made it more difficult. You have to figure out what it is that you're trying to do. What are you trying to not have them do? Do you want them to not try to? And I mean, I won't throw cheat around as much as you'll throw cheat around. I'll throw a shortcut because I think that an athlete's going to try to ride the line as much as they can to whenever someone says that's over the line. So for me, I think with the twisting and the stutter step and all of that kind of stuff, if you do a 2-foot takeoff and jump straight over the bar where you have to land facing the opposite direction, okay, well, now you have a 2-foot takeoff. Now there's no stutter step, there's no side step, there's no shuffle. You hop to the other side, then you can make your switch.
Yep.
You know, so
I think if they really want to fix all of this, then they do something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually like that. I mean, I didn't like it then, and I understand it now, which makes me like it a lot.
Yeah. It just comes down to what you're trying to get. Do you care about how they are shuttling over the bar, or do you just want them to move fast? If you just want them to move fast, then just say, burpees over the bar and don't give a shit if they do a worm thing or if they stand up all the way or whatever. Just say your chest, make your standard chest, hips, and legs.
The epitome of what this thing has turned into was its strength and depth. I get these kind of confused. There's the European competitions. There's 2 semifinals this year, and it was the event finale with Katrin in it, and everyone's stepping over the bar.
Right.
And it makes the sport look freaking ridiculous. and it's the exact opposite of what I think may have been the pinnacle in 2019, where you had to face as you stepped over.
Yeah.
And I remember do you remember the athlete called George Sterner? He was in the Chicagoland area. He was younger, and I thought he was going to be the next best thing. But I do remember watching him do these burpees at just a breakneck pace. Jump over the bar, face away before you turned around and readdress the next burpee.
Wow.
And he was crushing it. And I'm like, okay, this is great. This could be the next best thing.
Yeah.
But
so
that was my number one.
Yeah, I'm with you. Burpee standard, make it simple, be clear, clarify. I
didn't want to say burpees, but I guess
right.
I said anything that's
Standard.
changed.
But
Yes.
I think you're right. I think that what you said could be laid across whatever. And burpees is one. I don't think you should not have burpees in an online competition, because I could say that all of these
I
things
agree.
could be cheated. So it's hard, and that's what, like, when I was
Burpees
playing with
are
my
great.
list, it was the same thing. It's like, well, but I like that movement, but is it hard to judge, or what's the purpose of it being there? Can you find another way of doing it? So I don't think that statement is a bad thing to say. If you can't explain it to where someone that does not know CrossFit knows exactly what they're supposed to be doing, then it shouldn't be there.
Dude, the fucking 2-foot takeoff, for some people and affiliates, you guys know, it's the hardest part of the burpee.
I have people ask
getting down and getting up. It's that they don't think they can 2-foot take off and land over the bar.
Right.
Like it's a huge part of fitness, and they're just like, all right, get your ass over the bar, and don't make it easier. Like, make everyone better. Like, come on.
Right.
Bill, what was your first one?
I didn't go as ethereal as you guys did. I started up at the top because I think mine went the other way. So I'll go to more of a actual one, and this is one I figured this would be low hanging fruit. So I went with pistols first.
Ooh.
I went right off for an online qualifier. The video is too hard to see. You can't get different sides of the leg. People are always cheating it when they're being judged. I think that it's a movement that needs to be seen in person rather than online and from a distance. So that was my first one.
Would you change your mind if they use the all on one leg deal that they did at the games this year, facing the camera?
I would be more apt to do that.
The unbroken element and the one side element.
I would be more apt to do it, but then this is the other part that I started thinking when I was going through this, and this is the problem: is we get caught into these wormholes where we'll go down a spiral in some other realm. Is okay, if I'm judging this video that someone is doing for an online qualifier, and I'm watching that, am I going to be watching to see, or am I going to be able to see, if I'm watching from the front, especially on pistols, are they standing up all the way? Are they wearing baggy clothes? Is the hip crease going below the knee? The only thing I can really see, what is he doing?
Again, a space heater.
He's going to show us if he can do a pistol or not on the.
I can do a pistol, but no, I want to keep track of like what our order is, because
nice.
I'm just going to write it down.
I just think that it's a movement that it has too much variance. It's too hard to skew. Sure, you can come up with any movement and say, we can modify this or do this or do that. But I think that if we make it really difficult, I mean, we've judged online videos before, and it is shitty. It is shitty. And the last thing you want to do is have to sit there and scroll in or zoom in to see if someone is doing a particular movement, when that one, it's like, and it's not going to be like 6.
Yeah.
It's going to be like 30 or 50 or some number like that, where you're like, it's just too hard. It's going to make the judges weak and not observant of what they're trying to do in the game. And it's just a movement that doesn't need to be there. That needs to be done live.
And I like what you ended there, because I think that's the real question is, do they even need to be in online competition to weed out getting people to the next level? And my response to that is no. I think it's an unnecessary movement to put in an online competition that's going to stress the whole system, that you can test them in something else like a box step up or a lunge or something like that, where pistols are unnecessary in that area.
I've got something else on pistols too. It's one of those movements where there's an entire spectrum of people who are trying to compete at a certain level, and that might be the one movement that they don't have, but they're still going to do it, and they're going to talk to their judge and say, here's my story, and they'll be getting close, but none of those repetitions count. But because of the story with the judge, and now the fact that no one's looking at the online video submissions the way that they had been when everybody could see them, there's these people who can't even do pistols who are now qualifying for the next stages, and it's just they shouldn't even be in the qualifier.
Right.
But these people who can't do pistols do step ups, and you know what I'm talking about, like it's the ankle flexion that they're lacking.
Right.
And then their hip crease isn't getting below because the knee angle's so far forward. But sure, go ahead. 40 pistols, yeah, you did them. That only took you a minute 20. Good, nice job. No, it fucking didn't. No, it didn't.
I agree.
Like,
I agree.
what
All
they
right,
should do, and what everyone should do, is go to the drawing board and fix their immobility issues. And spend, and like next year, okay, now you can do your pistols, but no one actually does things the right way.
wow, that was a good. No, you're right. They don't.
Chase,
All
what's
right,
your number? What was your first one, Chase? Was
my
it
first
burpees?
one is
Is
burpees.
burpees.
Pick
It
one.
is burpees. Okay, okay.
Pick one.
So I got
Burpee
got
standard.
changed.
Burpee standard.
Standards.
Because we all agree that burpees are a good
I want
thing
burpees
to have
in
in
there.
it.
I
Right.
want a better burpee standard.
So Chase is burpee standard, Bill is pistol, and I am changed movements.
Yes. All right.
Okay.
Number 2, Hiller. What you got?
Wait a minute. I thought we had 4 of these.
Yeah. Did you
You
say
said
all
number
of your
2.
4?
Oh, are we going 4, 3, 2, 1 or 1, 2, 3, 4?
Just a second one.
Yeah,
Well,
we're
a second one.
ours are not.
I was going in order of least to most important.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's fine.
Okay. Okay.
All right,
'Cause
however-
Give your
Bill,
next.
I have pistol
Give your next
somewhere, Bill, but okay. Here's my next one. My next one is the ring muscle up.
Ah.
And I have the ring muscle up as my number 3. So 1 is the most important, and 4 being the changed movements was the least important. So this is number 3. And the ring muscle up is because of almost what I said with the pistol, is that people can do them, but maybe they can't do them to the capacity of which the workout requires. And I'll always reference it in relation to that GHD pistol ring muscle up workout, where sets of 10 is the crux of the workout. Now, if you don't keep yourself doing them the way they should be done, and you keep moving through the workout, well, you shouldn't keep moving through the workout, but now you are. And because they aren't holding you to a standard, which is lock out over the top, which some people are also getting confused. Like, all you got to do is show that you have your elbows extended and your shoulders over the rings or past the straps. And it could be for a split second. I think that Noah and Matt are good examples of that during the standard of the CrossFit Games in 2019. But everyone's like, any sort of like a quick move at the top, you have to show control at the top. I don't agree with that either. I think that there's an end point and there's a start point. And as long as you get through those, you're good. But people miss the end point a lot.
Totally.
And that's an issue.
And I think that was actually one of mine as well. So I had ring muscle ups as well.
One of mine too. So we can round robin this for the next 5 or 6 minutes.
Yeah.
So,
where do you guys have yours placed?
I honestly, I was pistols as low hanging fruit. I think this was the next level of low hanging fruit.
Okay, so 3.
No, it'd actually be my 2.
Okay, you're 2. Okay.
Hiller's going 4 to 1.
Yeah.
You're going 1.
I'm going 1 to 4. Whatever. However you want to do it.
Whatever
the first one was, my next one. So
all right.
The reason I was thinking that is because I think you could it's too easy to skew where you are on the camera. You can show, depending on the angle of where you are, you can show that your arms are locking, or it looks like you're locking even though you aren't really locking out. You can think you're locking out, but the video wouldn't show that you're locking out. It makes it really hard for the judge. It makes it really hard for the people that are watching, whatever. It's too much. And I think that you could get the same stimulus and response of the workout that you're trying to do by putting bar muscle up, which is now I can see everybody up on top. I mean, it's way easier to see a lockout.
I don't really agree with that, because the GHD sit-up ring muscle up combo is a motherfucker.
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
GHD sit-up bar muscle up isn't quite as bad. So maybe with what you said, a couple more reps. Or
Well, I'm just saying you could get 4. I mean, again, when you have the online qualifier, you're low on the qualifying stage. So you're trying to get trying to get a general, more of a general broad-based level of fitness before you get into some real specific things where it's like, okay, now we need to see if you have them. That's when you get into the live competition. I think ring muscle ups are a great movement. I love like every workout that they've been in, whether it's been the open or whatever. I love the workout because I love that movement. But I also think that it's very hard to judge, and you'll have a lot, just like what you're saying. If it has 3 sets of 10 and someone is getting the full extension and really like that, not that they have to pause at the top, but they're getting full extension, it's that millisecond on that rep, and someone else is doing the fade back through. That's a huge difference. So I just cut that out, because I think that right there completely changes the workout itself.
Chase, go ahead. I'll remember.
Okay, so I'm going to push back on the disagree part as far as the more difficult combo between ring and bar. So when we think about ring and bar, the differences are really like in the first, like they're 2-part moves. Let's just say that, right? You got the pull on top and you got the press out. I think on ring muscle ups, the pull to the top is easier part. where the lockout, the press out of the dip is harder. I would say on a bar muscle up, getting on top of the bar is the hardest part of the entire movement. And that bar muscle up movement, I think, requires actually more anterior core speed and power than the ring does. So I actually would think that the bar muscle up is going to be greatly affected or affected greater with GHDs than the ring muscle up.
Okay.
We've had an event at the games for the Masters. This was 2015. That was GHD and muscle and bar muscle ups, and it takes your pop out for sure. I mean, like that's one of the things that you have with the bar muscle up is you have a big hip pop to get over top. And I'm not.
So you're saying
I'm not saying that they're
test these
identical.
workouts.
I'm not saying that they're identical. What I'm saying is you could take rings out and put this in and get the same stimulus of what you're trying to do. Not going to be identical, but you
as
can.
Far as
It can be judged.
Standards for an online competition. Okay, I understand.
Yeah, it can be judged. It can be shown. It can be videoed. It can be seen. It can be observed. Very easy to judge, rather than trying to like with Danny Spiegel's that you did with the ring muscle up.
Yeah, those were terrible, and it ruined the entire workout. And shouldn't have been able to continue this year, but whatever, she did. And she did well at the games, and she won me my fantasy competition. So,
oh wow!
Thank you, Danny Spiegel. That's right. I drafted her, and she dominated. Do you
funny.
guys have a favorite open workout of all time off the top of your heads? Because I do.
I do. Yeah.
What is it, Chase? Well, Bill thinks.
Yeah, favorite right off the top is the 60, 50, 40, 30, 20.
Ooh. Wait, yes, that's mine. That's mine.
Oh, is it? Row cal, toes to bar.
14.3, right? 14.4. Yeah.
That one or the 100 double under ring muscle up, bar muscle up over at squat dumbbell snatch one. Yeah. But Bill hates double unders.
That was the 4-rounder, right?
Yeah, but I say for like an overall, like great, just fun balance chipper, that 14.3. That's probably my favorite.
14.4, I believe. That's mine too. And I have a point on that.
Second to last one when they usually have a chipper.
Right. Why was the overhead squat pull up one, the increasing every the
2-rounder
16.2?
I see.
Yeah.
Yes. It was that one. It was that one.
I have a thing with these. It's like the movies. It's like, where did you grab that from? It's like, I just remember the stupid crap.
Movie quotes, gifts. It's a skill.
And open workouts. So that workout, Chase, the most important part and the separator is the
ring muscle ups.
And the idea is you get there at a good clip without putting yourself into too big of a hole where you can still handle them. And the people who are handling them well at that time are doing like 3 or 4 sets.
Yeah.
And at that point in time, the female field, if you got one, it skyrocketed you in 2014. Just getting one. And at this point in time, if you were to program that exact workout, the standards would completely fuck everything up because you can't keep going. You can't get back on the rower if you don't do them right. But who's doing them right? And in the Travis Mayer bit, I put on an Instagram reel maybe a month or 2 ago. He's talking about like, do I just do what everyone else is doing, or is somebody going to make everyone do them the way that they should be done, the way that he does them? So that's usually where I come from with that. Is that workout being my favorite and everything being all messed up present day?
That one is so great
because it separates the females in particular.
Yeah,
and it still would a lot.
Right. God, the worst part was getting to the rower with like 90 seconds left. And I'm like,
well, there you go with the rower finish. It's awesome. That's such a good workout. God, I hope they repeat that workout. Osmond, can you do that?
That's true.
I mean, I know I can't do it anymore, but I'll still do it.
That's true. All right. So do we all, that was everyone's second go.
What was yours, Jace? Did you give
ring muscle ups?
Okay.
Yeah. Another repeater. I think I'm going to have one that nobody has one. I think I've got one lined up.
Do it.
I have one that I know you guys won't agree with, but I'm going to say it anyway. So
okay,
when it's my turn.
Round 3. We'll say round 3.
Round 3.
2.
I'm not starting this one. You got a good one.
Okay, I'll start.
You start after you.
I have handstand push-ups. I'm putting
handstand push-ups
for a variety of reasons. One,
this will be the standard setup.
This is a little on the standards, right? We have the box in particular, garbage standard. Just the box, the small box, the big box, the fact that there are people that are massively limited like the inability to do the actual movement, not their fitness level, that gets negated by the box. Then the plethora of crap long division algorithms figure out what the height, wrist bone connected to your asshole.
Well, believe that goes into my number 4, actually.
Okay. Yeah, it's a little bit off
the asshole goes into my number 4.
Yeah, and so like the bastardization of what a handstand push-up has been a huge problem in the open specifically, right? Because we're looking, I'm like open quarterfinals, the better people are, the worse that movement is in online competition because they're so fast, they're so quick. You can't.
When you put it that way, super messed up.
Messed
up. When you're right.
Look at the handstand push-up is like, there's nothing wrong with doing pistols. Pistols are whatever in competition. But when you have a demographic, it's almost like actually if you put air squats in there, like any type of Cindy movement, pull-ups, push-ups, air squats, handstand push-ups. People are so freaking good and so freaking fast. They can't actually slow down to do the movement correctly per the standards at which we present them. Or the standards are so hard, people blur the shit out of those lines and just make it a whole mess. I think handstand push-ups, though I have no problem with them, it's just like burpees, Bill, right?
Right.
The standards at which they put on that create such a mess that it's almost not, there's no point in putting those in, say, open or quarterfinals. Save that shit for live competition. That's my number 3.
Do you have a way to fix that or just get rid of it completely?
Right.
Like, what would you do if you had to do it? Because I have a recommendation.
Do you do like push press? Do you do a barbell going overhead?
Well, okay, that was what I was thinking. Yeah, like a double dumbbell push press in place of.
Right. Like we know what a push press should look like. Right? They've had push press in, I think it was 2012, was in the open workouts, box jumps, toes to bar, and push presses at 115.
People fucked up that standard too.
Yeah. Right, but it's I almost think
any movement could be fucked up. Any movement can be fucked up. But I think that what you're saying is right. It doesn't, because a movement can be fucked up doesn't mean that it should be excluded, because all movements could be shortened, not done correctly, not done to depth, not done to range of motion, whatever. Any of them could be. But I think with what you're saying with the handstand push-up is, again, you need to explain if you're going to make the explanation of what you're trying to achieve with that, and convolute the shit out of it and change it every single time so that nobody really knows what the heck they're supposed to do. Yet the push press has never changed.
Yeah.
From the shoulder, you jump up, you lock your hips, you lock your knees, your bar gets locked out overhead. Arms are like within, whatever the standard is. I think you can get the same stimulus out of that than having to go upside down.
I did like.
So first of all, I do agree, Bill,
because we have 2 different lines of handstand walks. You can have 2 different boxes. I don't hate that idea.
Yeah, but then again, you're measuring arm length. I don't think you should have to sit there and measure arm length. We don't do that on any other movement.
Wall ball target, right? Like 5'4" is 5'4". Who gives a shit? So why do they get a different box?
Right.
All right.
Do
you guys have a PVC pipe by chance around you or no?
Not up in here.
Or a broom or anything? All right. Well, you know what the issue is with the handstand push-up box, right? Obviously it's shorter people have an advantage due to the limb lengths, and they can move their hands out. And the issue there is the angle of the humerus right here, correct? And then the entire reason that they're measuring is because of the forearm length.
Okay.
Do you keep up with powerlifting at all?
No.
And do you know the issue with the bench press and powerlifting? The issue with the bench press and powerlifting is the
I did see what they just did, right? So the elbow has to go below the shoulder.
Correct. And the infographic they show are those green and red circles.
Right.
And if there were any way possible to have that correlated over to the handstand push-up in CrossFit, where you are an individual doing a handstand push-up and the angle of your elbow to your shoulder needs to be parallel at the bottom. I mean, like right here, this is about where I would do a handstand push-up, and that's parallel. But if you're a shorter athlete, you do one of these, and all of a sudden you're pushing from here, and it makes you rifle through 50 repetitions. Yes, you got a PVC pipe.
All right, what am I doing?
Put it on your head and get your elbow parallel to your shoulder. Just one side, I guess. So, see, is this about where you do your handstand push-ups?
No, I do it more narrow than this because of the box.
You go more narrow than that? All right, go more narrow and see what happens. The angle of your elbow rises up a little bit. But when you're upside down, it makes the handstand push-up more challenging, correct?
Yes.
Yes, that's the issue with the box. And I don't know if you could hear what I was talking about with Bill right there, but it's the powerlifting standard of the bench press.
Oh, where you can't put your hands.
One second, guys.
I think they just changed it. I saw it on Instagram.
Yeah.
What's the guy's name? Pro Kitty. He's this Olympic guy. He was showing it, and it was actually a really good show on where he had circles on the shoulder and circles on the elbows to show the angle of how much the arch was. The angle of the elbow had to be equal or lower than the shoulder for the bench to count. So like they have a judge standing back
in a box for squats.
Yeah.
Correct.
What does that matter?
Yeah.
Parallel. Like, why are you going to make me
squat?
Point.
Awesome point. Yes.
Because I will say this: whenever I do air squats, my feet are wide.
Well, who gives a shit?
But your hip crease is below
all the way.
I can go. What I'll do is by doing that, my bottom out is at parallel. So I'm not going to go like ass to grass, like I'm trying to get under a bar, like snatching or anything. I'll go just low enough, but it shortens the range of motion. There's like little games you can play with that. But I wouldn't even thought that was the issue. I would have thought it would the lockout issue. Being able to judge the lockout. I know it's harder for people to get down lower, and that like changes what they're doing. But then on the flip side,
well, that's what I meant by speed, right? Like everyone's so good and so fast. It's like, how do you count that? Like, do I slow this down into like a super slow-mo, or do I? Like I said, it's one of those, like the standard is a mess. It makes it harder. And the question, just like the pistol, is like, do we need that in online competition to qualify people to the next level?
And what are you trying to achieve with it? Like, what is this?
I can come back at John Young. I can come back at John Young with the fact that shorter people are generally also lighter. So they have the advantage on the handstand push-up because they're pressing less. That's lighter also usually means a little weaker.
Anyone that brings up wall balls being advantageous to tall people shows me you're a short person who has no fucking clue the advantages that you have in CrossFit. We get two movements: wall balls and rowing or machines. That's it.
That was the next thing I was going to use. And
all you dumb fuck programmers put the row at the beginning when it doesn't matter anymore.
It doesn't matter anymore.
That'll be on Hiller's video next.
Put that at the end, and then I can actually have an advantage. But you're taking my advantages away by pulling in a worthless position in the workout.
Look, there's always going to be advantages and disadvantages. Oh, this will go right into Jason CF Media. Like, are we allowed to talk about what someone looks like? Guess what? Your body is going to have a particular advantage or disadvantage based on how big, how short, how long, how lanky, how stocky, whatever. Like, that's just it is. This is the body that I have to work with. My arms might be long, so handstand push-ups are going to be a bitch for me.
Like, can
part
I
of the beauty of
Austin Malio's long ass arms, and which makes him like a deadlifting weapon? Am I not allowed to do that anymore?
That's what made Chris Spieler and Josh Bridges and those guys, these short little guys that are out there with these behemoths, and they're hanging with them. They didn't change the weight at all. I mean, those guys weighed 155 pounds, and they're out there, doing battle with guys like Jason Khalipa.
So here's another thing I can use to come back at John Young with the wall ball versus that handstand push-up box is that when I was at the affiliate, I had a guy who was very high competitor trying to make our team. We used the open as like the cut for the team. So if you were top 3 in the open, you made the team. Top 2 in the open, you were on the team. The handstand push-up box is always a hot topic because he was 6'3", strong as shit, powerful as shit, but that handstand push-up box really messed him up. And imagine if you were 6'4" or 6'5". There is not a person on this planet that is going to not be able to do a wall ball, but he essentially couldn't even do handstand push-ups. But if you put him at the same anatomical position as somebody who's my height, 5'9", he was good to go. And unfortunately for him, he had to play by the rules, which were the box. So again, that's another comebacker.
I think it's just, what are you trying to show? What's the intent? Is it that we want to race people in this box? Or are we trying to see if you have shoulder strength and shoulder stability going overhead? And again, you can do it at live competition, and then you need to figure out whatever standard you're going to do. But online, at home, and then that's the other thing. I mean, unless we're going to show capacity, and we're going to go down that route.
So I like wall walks better than handstand push-ups.
Yeah,
you do like them better.
I do.
Yeah,
I like a strict dumbbell press better.
Well, yes. Even that though, I'd make people sit.
If everybody in the world had like access to 35s, 25s, I think that'd be a good standard. Just like a seated one would be wicked. Like a seated dumbbell, like a Z press. That holy
exactly.
shit! How good would that be for the world at CrossFit?
Awesome.
Like that's the new standard for handstand push-ups. Everyone's just Z pressing and their postures are getting better.
Fixing the world's problems.
Amazing.
Yep. I mean that's the original model. That's not a bad idea. We're on number. That was your number 3. Mine. Yeah, that was your number 2. I'm still going worst to best. So that was your number 2.
I've said 3. So I have one more waiting in the wings.
Okay, so am I up? Am I up?
Sure.
I said high volume light thrusters.
Ooh.
And again, the reason I said it's not because I don't like the movement. I think that it kind of like what you were talking about, that the athletes are too good that no one locks out, no one goes deep enough because they're trying to get through that. You can control the speed on those different than you can control the speed on wall balls. Wall balls, the ball's in the air for half the time, so you can only go so fast. But with thrusters, I mean, you can change where your feet are placed. You ride the line on the depth. You can ride the line on how much you're actually getting the bar up over your head. Something like Jackie on an online competition.
Oh yeah,
guaranteed those are going to be some bad reps, you know. And one of the this was hard because I like the movement. I like what it is. That would be like saying, well, you got to take Fran out then, and I don't think that we should ever take a version of that out. But I know that if we are trying to think of the difference between an online qualifier and an in-person qualifier, at least the in-person qualifier, you have a nonpartisan people that's going to say, hopefully that's going to say, lock your arms out, or get no reps, where it doesn't always happen when someone's trying to get to the games, whether it's the Masters, whether it's trying to make to the next, qualifier or whatever. I think that's just, that's what I would say. I'm not even going to specify between barbell or dumbbell. I know the dumbbell can get nasty too, and we just saw that even in a live competition.
What about like increasing weights of thrusters, like we had at the last Open, like 21.3?
I like heavier thrusters for sure, because I think that people now have to think about the weight and they're getting it locked out to stabilize, rather than I'm trying to get down into the next rep super fast. So where that line is, I have no idea. But when I think of lightweight, that's what I think of as short bottom and not locked out at the top.
John's question: does your opinion change looking at Open or quarterfinals? I'm looking at both.
Yeah.
Any
agreed.
I'm talking any online qualifier. I'm talking Wadapalooza. I'm talking any, because
all encompassing.
Think about the person that has to judge this stuff and how bad. I mean, think a fast.
That's part of it too. Like judging a movement is part of our problem with the movement being programmed, not just what it looks like or how people bastardize it. Like making sure quality control is in there is a big part of why I don't like some of these things.
I was going to put thruster in there, but I like the thruster so much as a movement that I kept it out. But I agree with everything you had to say, Bill.
Yeah, I think
it's the speed at which people try to do the thruster.
It's too hard. Like I like the movement too. Actually, I really fucking don't like lightweight thrusters because they just hurt way too bad. I'd rather do
like a 135/95 is probably about as light as they should go. Is kind of what you're getting at, right?
Yeah,
it slows people down because it's heavy enough where you got to focus on what you're up to, but you're not trying to push it.
Yep.
So just Kalsu in every open workout.
Kalsu in every workout.
Kalsu in every workout. My number 2, I just put 16.1. Do you guys remember 16.1?
Oh, hold on.
That was me. I was coming back after my knee on that one.
Was that the AMRAP, toes to bar, snatches?
20-minute AMRAP.
Oh,
walking lunge overhead with a 95/65.
Oh, yeah.
I have never.
So I remember I had my first mental breakdown during that workout of my life. As an affiliate owner, I had like 100 people signed up for the Open, and I had everyone ready to roll. 16.1. We're sitting in front of the TVs, and they announced the walking lunge with the barbell overhead, and I had all of these people ready to rock and roll at like 7 or 8 o'clock at night, and I had to figure out how to fucking set up the gym and everyone's cameras all at the same time with people doing burpees over on one corner and pull-ups on the other corner and everything visible. And 16.1 is just an absolute nightmare. And I guess where I can stretch this thing out and not just make it the workout in particular, it would be something like the Brooke Wells handstand push-up, where you can't see what she looks like in the distance, and it's anything where you have the distance is okay. I didn't want to just say anything with like a shuttle run or a handstand walk, because those are needed, necessary, and good. But it's the movements you couple those things with, and then the online procedure that ensues.
I totally agree with it. That was what there were movements that I was wanting to take out because of the distance of the camera angle and how you're supposed to be able to judge that. If you're 25 feet away on whatever piece you're doing, and then you have another 10 feet to the wall where you're trying to do handstand push-ups and your camera's set back even more. And me and Chase have talked about this kind of stuff. It's like, if you're going to design an event, there needs to be a map that you have tested it in, so you know exactly what angles you're going to be getting, and if the person is going to be too far away to see these certain movements. I don't disagree with you. I like the handstand walking. I like the shuttle runs is what they are. But you look at those things and it's like, I really can't tell how far away now. Like, the camera angle's weird.
Well, we just talked about, or I brought up the Wadapalooza qualifier. It was the 600-foot shuttle run, which they did a very good job of briefing or describing, by the way. It's like, do 24, 25-foot lengths for your 600-foot shuttle run. It's like, no one can fuck that up.
God.
But also, it's just, you put it down, you can see the lines, and there's also a pull-up bar right where the line is, and it makes it hard to not see anything. But when it comes to the stuff that I just mentioned, it makes it hard in an affiliate to have all these people doing this one thing. I guess that would also be challenging depending on where your pull-up rig is, but it's not as challenging when you take into account the length of the 6-foot barbell now needing to go down and back and forth.
Right.
I can only do like 4 people at a time. I
agree with that. And that's like, to me, I look at that as like events that are affiliate friendly.
Yeah, it should be. I mean, a lot of them should be, especially the open workouts.
If I look at that by an event in itself, that thing was devastatingly awful. So if I was just like say they like had that at regionals and everybody had their own lane and they just marched further down the field, like, I have no problem with that. Like the pull up, the burpee, the overhead walking lunge, that was just terrible. But as far as I could run 4 people at a time in my affiliate.
I think that's what I had as well. 4
in a 20-minute AMRAP. And like we said, we had about 70 to 75 people signed up, and I was like, I'm gonna have to like
mental breakdown. I just sat in the back and I had my head in my hands and I was like, guys, I'm trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
Let's just start with like 1 person at a time.
We'll do it for the whole week.
We'll just keep doing 1 person at a time. Hey, I want to repeat. No, you will not.
Yeah, no, you
right.
No repeats. Go to another gym.
Okay. You talked me into it. They quit halfway through. What the fuck? You can't quit halfway through. Yeah, but I wasn't hitting my paces. It's like, what the fuck?
Wasted a lane.
All right. So are we all in our final one?
I think so. Yeah.
I am. But it's already been mentioned for me. My number 1 was the pistol.
Oh, okay.
I swear that your number 1 would also be, and I really like the do all of them on one leg and then turn face the camera, do all of them on the other leg. That's an easy fix.
Yeah.
Or you can make everyone have some sort of vertigo and just go right, turn, left, turn, right, turn, left, turn.
Oh my God. As if shuttle runs weren't hard enough.
Right.
Correct.
I like that. I like also almost like game standards. Like, it's not just do them all on one leg, but have them a specific number that it has to be unbroken. Right. They have to be in a box that's visible. 1 foot can't hit the ground, or they have to start over. Like, if you are going to put them in there, put them in such easy constraints to know whether they do them right, because I think the unbroken thing slows them down enough that it's also easier to judge and watch, at least online. All right. Who wants to lead off? Or that's yours. I'll go next. Bill, do you still have one alive?
I got one alive. Yeah.
Okay.
Let me start.
You got it.
Let me start this one. Okay.
I'll close this out in the most Chase way possible.
Wait, Bill, did you give your last one, or did you only have 3?
I've had 3 so far. I had pistols, I had muscle ups, I had high volume thrusters.
Okay.
My last one, and I wouldn't say that mine went to most important necessarily, but I think on this particular one, there is part of this is my own personal thing, but I also think as like a judge, this makes it really, really difficult. High volume double unders.
Oh.
The reason I say that is because it's too easy for people to go from 55 to 73 to 82 to 99, not 100. Boom, I got 100. And it's like, no, you did not. You did 77 of them. And the thing is that who online is going to be judging and actually counting every single one of those things to make sure that they qualified? We're going to have to rely on the person.
I know a guy.
Yeah, I know. I'm sure.
That was 99.
Right. Well, I mean, I've seen it in the gym, and I'm not, whether people are trying to creatively count or not, the difference between 170 something or even 80 something is enough seconds in a particular workout that could advance them well above where they need to be. And no one's going to count it. It's going to be the judge that's there, your buddy that's counting them, and then everyone's going to be getting along, and it's going to be jumping up. And everyone, like if it's the double unders in the thruster workout, all they're going to be doing is counting the thrusters. No one's going to be counting the double unders.
Bill's favorite athlete of all time. Put him.
Yes, I do.
You mean what's his name? He's like the physio master,
Yeah.
super physical therapist, man.
Yeah, he's a mega
800,000 followers on Instagram and 10 likes a post.
Yeah.
Damn Russian.
Pensacola Beach Brawl.
Oh my!
I got a buddy who goes to that every year and likes it.
So that would be mine. That would be mine. I think you can get some other things in there to get the same deal, but you need to have a non-partial judge that's counting your reps.
Okay, my
Chase,
last
you got
one.
one? Yeah.
Of no surprise, but this is my number one, and this goes for open and quarterfinals. No more 1 rep fucking maxes as an individually scored event anymore. It's ridiculous. I don't even like 1 rep maxes in live competition, right? But
really?
to have such an yes, and well, it depends on the number of events. I'll preface it that, right?
Right. That's
Like open quarterfinals, let's say 5 to 6 events. 18.
So you didn't like the deadlift 4 rep max in the last chance qualifier.
I thought that was one of the worst programmed events I've ever
I
seen.
know.
Followed closely behind of 100 burpees for time.
Ooh.
And the reason here is that you cannot program, and this is, let's just go outside weightlifting, a single modality test as its own individually scored event unless there's 2 other counterparts to offset that. So you can't program
2 other counterparts.
Single modalities: gymnastics, weightlifting, monostructural.
Okay.
Right? Everyone's like, oh, why are you bitching? Like, I'm sure John Young. Yep, boo. You don't fucking know what you're talking about, John Young.
John Young's smart. Boo.
I don't know what you're talking about. For example, everyone's like, oh, max clean and jerk. Fuck yeah, let's go. Snatch, awesome, complex. I was like, cool. Everyone thinks this is neat. Until event number 2 is a 1 attempt max unbroken bar muscle ups. How would the world react to that event? It's the same fucking test.
It's exactly.
Boy, you just said burpees and deadlift.
No, I'm throwing out another single modality test. Right?
The thing you did bring up though is that the deadlift with the burpees were done at the level of the last chance qualifier. And
Right,
at that
50%.
point, the deadlift. Sorry about that. You hear that?
Yeah. It's aliens. Aliens are landing in his backyard.
It's like a tornado siren test.
It's a leaf blower.
Oh no, it's good.
And at the last chance qualifier, there was only 20, 25 people participating.
Right.
And I think the big issue with the 1 rep max, the level of the open, are the people who sandbag to get to that lift.
Yes.
Is there any sort of difference there in your head or no?
So there, yes, because it's still a score. Because, so for example, the example I have is like, I had a guy that just started CrossFit at the gym who could lift a house. It's totally
Wow, that is loud.
And so what I did was like, all right, we're gonna limp your way through this and then get you to the max. And then he power cleans 315 in 1 try. That person should have no effect on the leaderboard in a worldwide open setting. 0. We are not testing your fitness at all. The test isn't balanced.
The last chance qualifier, is the deadlift still bad there or no?
Yeah, it's 25% of the test in a party trick.
But then
movement.
the burpees are 25% of the test.
Yeah,
and they just did all of those workouts.
Yeah, but burpees is a better test. 100 burpees is a better test of your work capacity and fitness than a 4-rep max deadlift.
I always think of these things in terms of Sam Dancer and Cody Anderson.
Okay.
Sam Dancer wins the deadlift, obviously. Cody Anderson assumingly wins the burpees. Not without a doubt, but because he's the smaller athlete and the target's set to a certain point, you would assume he would have the advantage. Now, how much of an advantage is what I always think.
It's a clear difference because we think. We know who's winning the deadlift one. We think means there's some element of fitness being tested.
Nice. You did good there. Okay. You've swayed me.
And so I'm talking about single modalities. Yes, I'm using weightlifting as an example because that's the only test we've ever had. But the same reason why you wouldn't put a 2K row time trial as an open event. People would
bigger, stronger people win, right?
Exactly. That's it. You may be a trash CrossFitter, but you are a good tall rower. And so you're going to beat all of these people just by the basis of your size and maybe experience. In the open, we would get our barbell club to come in and do the lift.
For the team stuff, yeah.
For the team stuff. But guess what? The team stuff also affected the worldwide individual leaderboard. And so
would you say the same thing if those burpees were bar muscle ups? Let's say it was a max set of bar muscle ups.
No, my example
say that the deadlift is shitty.
Yeah, and I would say
because you assume Cody will win, but you don't know.
You don't know.
I guess you don't know that Sam would win either.
Here's the thing: I like the 100 burpees more. I'm not as opposed to that because that is definitely a test of work capacity and fitness way more than any other test. But for the example that you're saying there is like, okay, you have one chance, as soon as you hop onto the bar, one time, or say like a lift, you have 10 minutes to establish a max unbroken set of bar muscle ups. Imagine what the reaction of the world would be if that was the test. That is no different than testing a 1-rep max. But everybody likes barbell stuff, and they're totally biased in the way they approach and their view. A single modality test is a single modality test, and no single modality test should be tested in open online competition.
Especially at the open level, because you're at such a broad level at that point. There's no need to make it. You might as well have, of your 4 events, do a max lift, a max bar muscle up, do your 100 burpees, and then you have to go and row your 200 meters. There's your 4 events. And everyone would be like, CrossFit's fucking boring. That's not CrossFit. That's
kind of what Max El-Haj suggested at some degree with the cancel the unknown and unknowable. Like, this is just what you do to get to the next stage. Are you fit enough to get there? And I think he used like a 2K row as an example, along with a lift and some gymnastics component.
If you it's interesting. I have no problem. But even then, so here's my go between. Not to just like bitch to bitch, like I want to give like an example. So take any AB that we had. So for example, the dumbbell squats, ascending ladder with the bar facing burpees, and the clean. Don't score them individually as events. Take your rank in A and your rank in B, and that you get a overall rank of your best finish with the combined field. Then you're at least filtered appropriately. So if you are going to put something in, then your scoring table needs to reflect a balanced scored test, not skewed.
So it's just a summation of the 2 events. So let's say it's a 1 to 100 and I get first on one and 100th on the other, I get 50th overall.
Exactly.
And if like you get first and 10th, you get 7th.
Yeah.
Right.
Or like your place finishing, right? So say like open scores. You got first in this one, 3,000th in this one. Your score is 3,001 for event 1.
I got it. I like that. Okay.
So it's right? And this is one of the things that I think a lot of people misunderstand is it's not the fact that the lift is bad. It's how important that one lift becomes compared to everything else. Like here we are talking about CrossFitters, and we're trying to advance our set of CrossFitters to the next stage. Yet all of this weight is on the weightlifting, on this one thing. So it's more, if you're going to have the weightlifting in there, fine, but then make it so that that it's part of the mix rather than you could have your specialists come out. Because in that level, I think, especially on the open side, you can make things heavier. It doesn't all have to be super light, but it should be basic CrossFit stuff to get to that next stage. That's what I think. I mean, why are we going to be having
19.2 are the best workouts of all time then. That's the squat clean ladder with the toes to bar and the double unders.
Yes.
Love
Yes.
it. Love it. 100% love it.
That is so my favorite one, your question, actually me and Bill, is like, if you just took that format and just changed all the movements and modalities between weightlifting, monostructural, and gymnastics, and you had ascending weight, those are actually the greatest tests. And I think that we looked at the leaderboard is like the way those ranked were almost like to a place of your fittest people at the CrossFit Games. Right. And those are actually, and this is what we said in the last chance qualifier that you're talking about. They should have just done in 2021, the last event.
Yep.
One event to separate that. And 3 of the 4 people that finished in the top 2 for men and the women were in the top 2 at the end of that event. The other one was like 5th.
Are you talking about the complex along with the Fran?
No. Last chance qualifier.
Last chance qualifier. Okay. That was the rope climb.
Unders, rope climbs, ascending weights, and descending reps.
Yep.
Anytime you have an ascension like that, it's going to be good.
The top 2 women were the top 2 overall on the leaderboard in that event. And 1 male was in the top 2, and the other one got like 5th. So 3 of the 4 that were in the top 2 qualifying positions were seeded from that. And we said that before they even took the test when we saw the programming. Something like that. So yeah, I agree. The double unders, toes to bar, clean, or that was one of the best programmed events in the open ever as far as testing strength and work capacity. It's one of my favorite ones. Some format like that. Test strength, please. By all means, do it in the open, but do it appropriately. You have to be fit to be tested.
Someone had, I don't remember who mentioned, I don't know if it was Corey, who it was, but someone asked like the idea of earning your strength. Kind of like the Diane that we did, where then it went to the handstand walk and the heavier deadlift. Okay, well, you got to do handstand walks if you had the capacity of doing the other piece before that. You should have to build to showcase that everyone competes on the general level, and then you get to bump up after that. Or you build up in a ladder sort of setup, which is cool too.
Yeah.
I like it.
That was my last one. I'm done with strength one-offs in the open or quarterfinals. I'm done. If I see that, I'm just like you. Okay, you don't get it. You don't get it.
And then there's going to be one in the open next year, and we're going to have to see if there's any way that it actually makes any sense.
So far, I've seen no event in the open that made any sense. 0. And they were so close.
I was really trying to come back at you with the last chance qualifier one, and you kind of beat me up.
Sorry.
All right. No, you won that one. You win that round. Yeah.
The other one, what was it? 15? Was it 15-1 and 15-2 or 1A, 1B, where it was the AMRAP of toes to bar, power snatches, and
max clean and jerk,
deadlifts into a max clean and jerk. All you had to do, add your reps and your pounds together for one score and then rank them. Done. I would bitch less. Done. Yeah. Because what did everybody do that fucked the leaderboard? They did 1 toes to bar and then just sat there for 10 minutes and waited to do their clean and jerks. I told our lifters to do that because the system was fucked.
Yeah.
Can't blame you. Don't hate the player.
Right.
No, that's right. You have to play as long as you're playing within the rules, playing within those rules, and that's the problem. The rules aren't looked at as a competitor or as a coach. That's something I think is skewed. This is the people that are thinking that way aren't the people that are designing it aren't thinking that way. Like when we program events, we think, okay, how's someone going to fuck this up? Where would I go? How would I show? Where are my shortcuts that I would go here?
I don't know if that's entirely true. For a long time, it seemed like Castro was learning and at least trying to make it better.
Yeah.
Would you disagree?
No, I think generally, I'm not even talking.
Because I thought he figured it out. Because he had the clean toes to bar double under one. I'm like, finally, we figured it out. And the next year was like the snatch chest to bar one, back-to-back years. I'm like, cool, we figured it out. And then we went back to the dumbbell squat power clean bullshit.
I think was that, but what was that bad for? That was bad for or what was that done for? That was for the teams. Yeah. You didn't do that for individuals. So the people that were doing individual, they had to do well in both. The people that were making their team, all right, you do 1 toe to bar and then hang out. Then you're gonna lift like a motherfucker on that bar.
Fair, yeah. Bad for the teams.
You know,
but the
so that
team
was
screwed
the
up.
team element has always been pushed to the side. Always been pushed to the side. So
The goal is to find the fittest on earth, right?
Yes.
yeah,
And I guess you wasn't even thinking about the teams.
it was a cool little side thing.
Yep.
You know,
The Open.
right.
I just made a video on the Open and how the Open needs to freaking matter.
Yes, it does.
Can
yeah.
you guys tell me your opinions on that real quick? How badly do you dislike the top 10% thing? And that's the only important part of it. What do you feel possible negatives are happening as a result of that, if any?
Well, I think the negatives
Positives.
are clear.
Yeah.
You think it's positive?
No.
No,
I
no,
think the positives are it gets a lot more of your general population CrossFitters fired up because it's like, oh, I get to play in the next step, which I think is really cool. But it doesn't mean anything to the athletes that have that are on the upper tier. Like it doesn't mean anything. I still think I think it's got to be made to where it's a one and done. Everybody has you don't get multiple shots, you get one shot to make it like competition.
I like the 10%, as Bill said, for the general pop because it gets them excited about something. The problem is the only narrative we hear in the Open is all the top athletes saying the Open doesn't matter, so it trickles down.
Yeah.
So I'll hear people like, yeah, the Open doesn't matter. I'm like, for you, it fucking does. You suck. Like, you need to work your ass off to get to the quarterfinals.
I'll tell you what, isn't that the most important thing though? It's always been like a trickle down from the games.
Yeah.
And have you guys seen that happen in real time in the affiliate? That it's actually getting people fired up to make the top 10%?
Yeah.
Because I have not seen that.
We have. I mean, granted, well, what it does, it makes people go like, oh, well, I'm not that far off. Okay, maybe I could do this. We, at least in our gym, we've had that, which I think is cool.
Chase, you too?
Not as much.
I'll say actually in the Masters division, it works too.
Year one, I saw a little bit of it. But year two, everyone's like, well, why do I want to go finish a hell of a weekend in 2000th place in the quarterfinal? Right. Like, oh, whatever. Some people do it. I don't know. But I guess I hadn't had Bill's perspective on it.
Year one, yes. I think I like Bill's of truncating when it's supposed to be done. I'm also under the opinion is that when was the Open the most excited or exciting?
17 and 18.
Yes, but also when the qualifications to the next level was so exclusive. And so it made the Open matter and exciting. And so I think it's like maybe 10% is too much.
Yeah.
Maybe drop.
That's a good point.
There's no leaderboarding right now.
Still reachable, right? But say it's 5%, cut it in half, 3%, where it's like, you know, for some people, it's like, hey, what do I have to do to make the top 10%? Is like, really, it's just like be able to do a bar muscle up, like
finish the workouts as prescribed under the time caps,
right? And it's like, okay, but that's not a challenge, right? That's not a challenge that you'd give your own affiliate members. It's like, hey, yeah, just finish the workout as prescribed. You'll go. It's like, no, you need to finish it in this time. Right.
That's a good point. Stimulus, yes.
Stimulus, right? So the stimulus of the Open needs to drop. Right now, the stimulus is so slow. It's like, hey, just do Fran. Who cares how long it takes? 12 minutes, good job. You did Fran RX. I'm like, no, you fucking didn't.
Right.
You did 45 thrusters and pull-ups. You didn't do Fran. Change the stimulus, right? Drop the percentage cap, drop the time cap, force people to get better. And that makes it more important. It has more value. And then when they make it, they don't care that they're going to not make the semifinals. They're like, I freaking made the top 3%. Let's see what I have left.
Yeah, I agree with that too.
To improve it.
Now, what does that come out to? I think it was like 2,800 made it out of North America, maybe. So that would be 500-600
thousand.
Well, I think North America. No, I might be way off.
70,000 dudes that did the Open in North America. Maybe I'm wrong.
Maybe if you just call it the top 500. I don't know.
Maybe
the other thing is the levels, like the CrossFit levels, and like you all see like everyone's a level 10, right? For the most part. And so people will ask me, they'll be looking for teammates, and they'll go, "Do you know anyone in the area that I can team up with that's like about my level of CrossFit?" And where am I going to go? Like, look at all these level 10s, look at all these level 9s. What I did in the past was you kind of look into the hundreds and the 200s, 300s in the leaderboard.
Oh yeah,
That was the level system.
Right.
right.
That back when the open mattered, though. That was
I'll
the
just say right
system.
now, my level does not match my fitness level. I don't know how I got the number I got, but it's not. I was like, fuck, that's.
Are you a 9? Are you a 10?
Yeah, I'm a 9.
You're a 9.
I think.
I think
I think I'm a
it's just
9.
based off of what you. I mean, for the most part, like okay, everyone, if they were advancing, then they just kind
I
of.
think if you made quarterfinals, you were a 9.
Yeah.
I think if you maybe not. Maybe that made you a 10.
Oh,
They
I'm a
never
10.
said anything either.
I'm a 10. How am I a 10?
Maybe are you a 10?
Yes.
Did you sign up for quarterfinals or did you participate?
I didn't. No, I didn't sign up because I tore my calf.
Huh.
Oh, that's how. That's how.
Interesting. They knew you tore your calf, so they felt bad for you, so they give you a higher ranking.
It's a problem. I don't need handouts.
That's the thing about the 10%. They're giving everyone handouts.
Exactly. And maybe that is it.
Oh man.
All right. This was awesome, guys.
Yeah.
Taylor, thanks for jumping on, man.
Of course. Thanks for having me. Thanks for taking your shirts off.
Absolutely.
It made me feel like right at home. Like you're in the garage with me.
One off. But yeah, that was really awesome.
Here by JR about the pig, and I was trying to like read it, but the comments on my end are all weird. It looked important.
Early on.
It's something about like pig over the pig burpees.
Yeah. So, and this is a story I was trying to relate to when Bill was talking about the burpee standard. Is that I ran in a competition that it was like 21:59 overhead squats at 135 and bar facing burpees. And the rule I made is they had to jump with your feet together forward only.
Yeah.
And turn, you couldn't twist. And that's what JR was talking about is they didn't let them turn on the jump over the pig. And that's one way to keep the burpee standard pretty uniform is you can't jump, you can't twist, you can't jump with feet. Like it's feet together, feet over, facing the same direction the entire time.
Okay.
Just to come.
I know I saw it and that disappeared on me. So thank you. Because now we know what's going to happen because JR can see into the future.
Man, that was awesome. JR did a great job.
He's good.
Yeah. Before we sign off, I want to say shout out to Matt Souza. Congratulations, guy. Just got married last weekend.
Souza and Grace.
Yeah. Congratulations there. Hiller, thank you for jumping on. I know we want to do another one because this one was online competitions, but we still have movements that should probably not be in live competitions. I think I want to do one of those. So if you got some time down the road, and just
make time,
create more mayhem in the world. And
what we really should do if you want to create mayhem is we should do most commonly cheated instances in the affiliate.
Oh gosh. What is that gonna be top? Is that gonna be top 10? Because there could be a lot of those ones.
We'll just call Burn It Down. Just Burn It Down podcast.
Top 4. I know JR's got the Crucible Crash coming up in a couple weeks. Crash Crucible coming up in a couple weeks. Bill, I think we'll dive into that programming maybe.
We're gonna get on that one. Yeah.
That's gonna be fun because I know JR does a great job.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I've seen it. They're good. I like them.
Check those out. But thank you guys for joining the show. Appreciate your time. Appreciate your comments, and appreciate you guys enjoying the shirtless.
The shirtless
video.
Fun.
So
throw them up, guys.
Yeah.
Throw them up.
Everybody. Yeah. Hit a block mine by that. Yeah. There you go. Yep.
Yes, Bill.
Put your shirt on. Everyone else, maybe change of clothes after we sign off.
I'm gonna go coach without my shirt. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm just gonna keep it rolling.
It'd be like Carson, California. All right, everyone. Have a great Thursday. See you next time.
Bye, guys.